Hello everyone, and welcome back. Have you ever noticed how corruption seems to pop up everywhere? Whether it's stolen money, rigged systems, or leaders clinging to power. And yet, when people finally say enough is enough, entire nations rise together to demand justice. So, today, we're diving into the top 10 uprisings against government corruption around the world. From Asia to South America, we'll explore how ordinary citizens stood up against powerful elites. This is Epic 10 Discoveries, and I'm Alex. Let's jump right into it. Number 10. The Philippines. Flood funds. Scandal. 2025. Imagine living in a country hit by 20 cyclones a year. Floods wipe out homes, families struggle to rebuild, and billions are promised for flood control. Then comes the shocking truth. Almost $2 billion vanished into ghost projects. Dams never built, communities left to drown. On September 21st, tens of thousands filled Manila's streets. The date was powerful. It marked the anniversary of martial law under Ferdinand Marcos Sr., a dark reminder of past corruption. Protesters shouted, "We lose our homes," while they drive luxury cars. Rallies turned chaotic near the presidential palace. Rocks flew. Police fired water cannons, and by nightfall, 200 were arrested and dozens injured. Would you risk the streets if your government abandoned you in the floodwaters? Number 9. Indonesia. Justice for Afan Cornawa. 2025. In Indonesia, protests erupted on August 25th after outrage grew over lawmakers enjoying allowances nearly 10 times higher than the minimum wage. Students, unions, and workers marched peacefully in Jakarta, demanding fairness. But on August 28th, tragedy struck. A police vehicle killed 21-year-old delivery worker Afan Cornawa. His death turned anger into fury. Crowds cried at his funeral, chanting for justice, while protests spread nationwide. Parliament buildings were attacked, public offices set ablaze, and the government scrambled. President Prabowo Subianto offered condolences and reshuffled ministers, but the damage was done. By the end, 7 were dead and thousands arrested. Afan's death proved how one innocent life can spark a revolution. Number 8. Nepal. Gen Z rises up. 2025. On September 8th, Nepal's streets flooded as thousands of young people protested. Not just against a social media ban, but against decades of corruption and nepotism. Their slogan, "No more Nepo babies." Bold and fearless, Gen Z accused leaders of stealing their futures and silencing voices. One protester shouted, "This is a new slavery system." The uprising soon turned deadly, with at least 72 killed. Under immense pressure, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned, and by September 12th, Sushila Koirala stepped in as interim leader. For the first time in decades, Nepal's youth showed they were powerful enough to topple a government. Number 7. Argentina, the fight for education and healthcare. 2025. On September 12th, Buenos Aires erupted in protest against President Javier Milei's deep austerity cuts. Universities were collapsing, 10,000 teachers dismissed, labs shut down, and children's hospitals running out of medicine. Parents, doctors, and students marched together crying, "Children are dying. Our future is dying too." For 5 days, anger filled the capital until a breakthrough came. On September 17th, Congress overturned Milei's veto and restored critical funding. Crowds hugged doctors, tears of joy on their faces, a rare victory. But protesters knew the battle wasn't over. When governments cut corners, it's always the children and the sick who pay the price. Would you march if your child's medicine vanished? Number 6. France austerity and pension wars. 2025. France is no stranger to protests, and September showed it once again. Teachers, train drivers, pharmacists, and students joined forces to oppose austerity and tax injustice. Imagine 80,000 security forces deployed across the country just to contain the unrest. Crowds in Paris and Marseille demanded, "Make the billionaires pay." At the heart of it was the pension reform, raising the retirement age that many called deeply unfair. Clashes erupted, over 180 arrests were made, but the spirit of resistance remained strong. France has always shaped politics through protest, and this uprising proved that when workers unite, even presidents have to listen. Number 5. Serbia. The train station collapse. 2025. September shook Serbia with tragedy. A brand new train station roof collapsed, killing 16 and injuring more than 60. The cause? Alleged corruption and poor construction tied to government contracts. Protest erupted in Belgrade and Novi Sad as tens of thousands demanded justice and early elections. Students, opposition leaders, and civil groups accused President Aleksandar Vučić of cover-ups and authoritarian rule. The government hit back with tear gas, stun grenades, and arrests, but people refused to stand down. Though no elections followed, this remains the biggest challenge to Vučić's decade-long grip on power. Proof that one disaster can shatter public trust. Number 4. Peru. Youth versus pension reform. 2025. In Peru, Gen Z once again rose to the front lines. On September 21st, thousands marched in Lima against a new pension law forcing everyone over 18 into private funds. But this wasn't just about pensions. It was about years of corruption, crime, and broken promises under President Dina Boluarte, whose approval had sunk to just 2.5%. Anime flags waved above the crowds as clashes with riot police left 19 injured and mining shutdowns deepened the crisis. Young people shouted, "We're tired of living like this. Our future is being stolen." A clear sign they wouldn't stay silent, no matter the risks. Number 3. Bangladesh. The Quota Revolution. 2024. How can anyone forget Bangladesh's historic uprising? In June 2024, Bangladeshi students rose up against job quotas that reserved 30% of positions for descendants of freedom fighters. What started as a demand for fairness quickly turned into calls for Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign. The crackdown was brutal. Over 1,500 deaths, 22,000 injuries, and internet blackouts silencing voices nationwide. But the movement couldn't be stopped. On August 5th, Hasina fled. An interim government took charge, and quotas were slashed to 7%. Think about it. Students with nothing but courage forced out a leader of 15 years. That's the power of collective action. Number 2. Lebanon. The October Revolution. 2019. Back in 2019, Lebanon lit up with the October Revolution. What sparked it? A simple tax on WhatsApp calls. But that small issue uncovered decades of corruption, unemployment, and economic collapse. For the first time, people from all religions and backgrounds came together. Human chains stretched across the country, women led marches, and young people shouted against sectarian politics. The movement toppled Prime Minister Saad Hariri, but corruption ran deep. Later crises, like the Beirut port explosion in 2020, reignited the anger. Though systemic change is still a struggle, the revolution left a legacy of civic unity and defiance against Lebanon's entrenched elites. Number 1. Sri Lanka. The Aragalaya movement. 2022. And finally, Sri Lanka's Aragalaya movement. One of the most dramatic uprisings in recent memory. Years of corruption by the Rajapaksa family left the nation bankrupt, with food shortages, inflation soaring to 74%, and people lining up for hours just to buy fuel. By July 2022, anger boiled over. Protesters stormed the presidential palace, swam in the pool, and forced President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to flee the country. His resignation soon followed. Though crackdowns were violent, with thousands arrested, the movement succeeded in removing a corrupt dynasty and inspiring future generations. Sri Lanka's protests proved that when people unite, even the most powerful leaders can fall. And there you have it, the top 10 uprisings against government corruption around the world. Which of these uprisings inspired you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss more amazing top 10 stories. This is Alex from Epic 10 Discoveries, signing off. Click on one of the videos on your screen to discover more powerful stories from history and today. See you there.